I hope our participants from online also joining. In our conference, Honorable State Minister for Ministry of Disaster Management and Relief, Dr. Muhammad Inaugural Rahman MP, has gave his consultation. I owe my sincere gratitude to Professor Dr. Abdul Kadi, our special guest, who is very dignified meteorologist, has vast knowledge and experience in the field of atmospheric science and climatology. We are so blessed that Professor Kadi has been associated with this department since our inception. Professor Dr. Muhammad Jilur Rahman, Honorable Dean of the Faculty of the Art and Environmental Sciences, is present as special guest that makes this auspicious ceremony more meaningful. We are all very pleased that grateful Professor Dr. Muhammad Akhtaruzzam Sir, Honorable Vice Chancellor of the University of Dhaka, is chairing this inaugural session. Sir has been a great patron to the overall progress of this department. I owe my sincere gratitude to Professor Dr. Tessa Takemi from Kyoto University, Japan, for joining us and glorify this session as keynote speaker. And Professor Petri Talas, Honorable Secretary General of the World Meteorological Organization, WMO, will provide a message for this conference. Our convener of this conference is our respected founding and current chairperson, Professor Dr. Tobita Doshi. Her endless enthusiasm and visionary leadership has made this grand event a reality. This is the third successive effective conference in 3 years. This conference has attracted in the community of the researchers working in meteorology and climate sciences. The conferences comprises of 5 sessions. We also split it in more 2 sessions, that is climate extremes, impacts and challenges of climate change, engaging with in climate action, nature-based climate solution, and mitigation and adaptation policies, programs and services. A total of 50 papers will be presented at this conference. Now I'd like to introduce our honorable session chair for all the sessions. First here, Professor Dr. Shamshir Das. He is a convener of South Asian Meteorological Association, SAMA. He will raise the chair of technical session 1 and co-chaired by Dr. Shamim Hassan Bhia, Bangladesh Meteorological Department, Dhaka, Bangladesh. Second session 2A, that is impacts and challenges of climate changes, will chaired by Professor Dr. Toru Terao, Kagawa University, and co-chaired by Professor Dr. Muhammad Shahjahan Mondo from Institute of Water and Flood Management, Bangladesh. Our next session, the B, will chaired by Professor Dr. Dewan Abdul Kadir, Department of Meteorology, University of Dhaka, and co-chaired by Ashfaqur Rahman, Department of Meteorology. They are now visiting faculty in our department. Department of Meteorology, University of Dhaka. Next, our session 3, engaging with youth in climate sciences, will chaired by Dr. L.S. Rathur, Indian Meteorological Department in Delhi, India, and co-chaired by Dr. Muhammad Shah Kamal, Department of Agricultural Extension, DAE, Ministry of Agriculture, the Government of People's Republic of Bangladesh. Next session 4A, Nature-Based Climate Solutions, Professor Dr. Taiji Haishi. Professor Taiji Haishi is a professor in the Kyoto University, Japan. It is co-chaired by Dr. Mohan Kumar Dash, National Oceanographic and Maritime Institute in Bangladesh. Session 4B, Nature-Based Climate Solutions, chaired by Professor Sujit Kumar Dev Sharma, Bangladesh Sheikh Mujibur Rahman Maritime University, Bangladesh, and co-chaired by Dr. Nazmullah Hassan. He is Assistant Director of the Department of Meteorology. Next session, Technical Session 5, Mitigation and Adaptation Policies, Programs and Services, chaired by Professor Dr. Hirohiko Ishikawa, Kyoto University, Japan, and will be co-chaired by Abdul Manan, Bangladesh Meteorological Department. This is all about our sessions and introduction of our respected guest. Now I would like to request our honorable chairperson, Professor Dr. Tulida Rashid Madam, to give her welcome speech. Thank you, Dr. Patibul. Honorable Chair, Professor Dr. Mohammad Akhtar Zaman sir, and distinguished guest. It's my pleasure and opportunity to welcome you all to join this event, International Conference on Climate Change 2022. First of all, I'd like to express my sincere gratitude to Honorable State Minister for Ministry of Disaster Management and Relief, Dr. Mohammad Inaugural Rahman MP, for giving his kind consent to be the chief guest at the inaugural session, but due to some unavoidable circumstances, he couldn't join us and sent good wishes and a success for the event. We are all very pleased and grateful to Professor Dr. Mohammad Akhtar Zaman, Honorable Vice Chancellor of the University of Dhaka, for chairing this session. He has been very supportive towards this department all through, and he has been very encouraging to spread of science through events like this. Professor Dr. Dion Abdul Qadir, our special guest, who is an eminent meteorologist and has vast knowledge and experiences in field of atmospheric science. The presence of our special guest, Professor Dr. Jalur Rahman, Honorable Dean of our Faculty of Art and Environmental Science, has joined in this conference, and we are very much grateful to him for joining this event. The closing plenary session will be held on December 15th. Honorable Pro Vice Chancellor Academic to the University of Dhaka, Professor Dr. A.S. Maksud Kamal will be present as the chief guest. I owe my sincere gratitude to Professor Tetsuya Takemi from Kyoto University, Japan, for joining us and giving the keynote speech and his keynote paper. He will deliver his keynote paper on quantifying the impacts of climate change on extreme weather hazards. It's a very contemporary issue, and I hope the paper will be of great benefit to the audience. We are very delighted that Secretary General of the World Meteorological Organization, Professor Petri Talas, has shown a keen interest on this conference and has sent a message for this event. The speech of Professor Petri Talas, Honorable Secretary General of World Meteorological Organization, although virtually, is a monumental achievement for this relatively young department. We are thankful to him for making some time to provide a message for us. This year, the key theme of the conference is climate change. I want to emphasize on the session reason behind it. You know that a WMO report on disaster statistics showed that the number of disasters has increased fivefold in the past 50 years, and that trend is expected to continue. You all know that recently the United Nations Climate Change Conference, COP27, has emphasized on the robust improvement of observation facilities within the member countries, which will ensure the availability of forecast-based early warning systems to all countries, by which casualty will be reduced in a good number. WHO has highlighted some key climate change indicators like record sea level rise and glacier retreat, as well as the impacts including extreme weather. And the report identified that the
Past 8 years have been the warmest on record. Therefore, the cover decision, known as the Sharm el-Sheikh Implementation Plan in COP27, was adopted after prolonged negotiation. It reaffirms the commitment to limit global temperature rise to 1.5 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels. Being the only academic body in Bangladesh for teaching meteorology, we believe that it is our sacred duty to bring together scientists, experts, operational organizations, and academicians from all over the world to share their knowledge and ideas to make people aware about the occurrences that are related to weather and climate. So each year, during the second week of December, the department organizes international conferences. Respected guest, I'm happy to announce that we have gathered a variety of scientists and academicians who are concerned by the issue of climate change in their research activities for this conference. Almost all are renowned scientists, scholars, and faculty members of this field in Bangladesh are participating in this conference. We have participants from different parts of the world. Participations from University of Dhaka, Bangladesh University of Engineering and Technology, Khulna University, Noakhali Science and Technology University, Bangladesh University of Professionals, Bangladesh Sheikh Mujibur Rahman Maritime University, University of Chittagong, Begum Rokeya University, Bangladesh Meteorological Department, BMD, Bangladesh Air Force, National Oceanographic and Maritime Institute, RIMES Bangladesh, Bangladesh Red Crescent Society, SPARSO, Bangladesh Space Research and Remote Sensing Organization, Bangladesh Rice Research Institute, Indian Institute of Tropical Meteorology, Pune, Central University of Rajasthan, Jaipur, Kyoto University, Japan, Kaguya University, Japan, Kochi University, Japan, the University of Tokyo, Japan, Central University of Tamil Nadu, India, Jawaharlal Nehru University, India, National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, NOAA, Physical Sciences Laboratory, USA, Royal Melbourne University of Technology, Australia, Chinese Academy of Sciences, China, Al Farabi Kazakh National University, Kazakhstan, Tribhuvan University, Nepal, and many more are participating in this conference. I would like to thank all of the participants for presenting their paper in this session and choosing this platform for sharing their knowledge with us. The conference comprises of 7 sessions, which are climate extremes, impacts and challenges of climate change, engaging youth in climate science, nature-based climate solutions and mitigation, adaptation policies, programs, and climate services. We are very much thankful to Professor Shamsher Das in Central University of Rajasthan, Professor Toru Terao, Professor Hirohiko Ishikawa, Professor Tayachi Hayashi, Professor Shajan Mondal, Dr. Milind Majumdar, Dr. Sujit Dev Sharma, Professor Shajan Mondal from Kuwait, Professor D.A. Kadir, for your relentless support for this conference, and you were the advisors of our board of, our conference as well, and you were also chairing and co-chairing our different sessions. Thank you for your presence and kind support to this conference. We congratulate all winners at different categories like the Best Presenter Awards, Professional category, Young Scientist category, Students category for your presentation at the International Conference on Meteorology and Climate Science 2021. Certificate will be given by our Honorable Event Chair, Vice Chancellor, Professor Mohammad Akhtaruzaman sir. I would like to convey my heartfelt thanks to Professor Dr. Subrata Kumar, Chairman, Geology Department, Dr. Arjun Chaudhary, Department of Oceanography, Mr. Shamsul Alam, Director, Bangladesh Air Force, he has joined online, Dr. Mizan from Air Force, Mizan Rahman, Dr. Shamim Hussain Bhuiya from BMD, thank you for coming. Dr. Mohan Kumar from NOAMI, Professor Humayun Kabir from Department of Geography. I think we have many more from BMD as well. Dr. Mohammed Shafi, sorry, pardon. Sorry, Shafiqul Alam, BMD. From NOAMI, I can see Mr. Musharraf Hussain, then Dr. M.A. Salam Berg, Bangladesh Agriculture Research Council, Mr. Sabir Ahmed, Navy, Dr. Engineer Mohammad Lutfur Rahman, LGAD, Dr. Mohammad Shami Hussain Bhuiya, I mentioned already your name, Dr. Shaila Akhtar, and many more. Thank you for coming and for joining this session in person. All the sessions of this conference are aimed to raise the updated evidence of climate change and its future impacts in the world as well as Bangladesh, and what the new deals and developments of the COP27 mean for Bangladesh today and tomorrow. Research on upgrading the forecast capabilities to meet the needs will be given more priority in these discussions. The sessions will also try to discuss the next course of actions for Bangladesh and the role of stakeholders, including policymakers, the private sectors, scientists, and academics. I owe my gratitude to all the organizing committee members, Dr. Fatima Akhtar, Shuruk Deshuba, Momin Islam, and my beloved students, staffs for supporting the conference in many ways. May Almighty give the strength to serve the country with our utmost ability. Thank you all for coming and joining this session.
Hope our online participant can hear me. So, this one unmute.
Yes, yes, we can hear you.
We can hear you.
Okay. We can hear. Yeah, they can hear. Okay, thank you. Thank you all. Thank you, Madam. Honorable Secretary General of WMO sent us good wishes and a recorded video. We are delighted to listen the message. Please. Professor Petri Talas from WMO.
Greetings from World Meteorological Organization in Geneva, and that for the invitation to address you in Dhaka, where you are having the International Climate Conference. And we are grateful that you organized this meeting, and it's a very important topic that you are dealing with. From WMO side, we are grateful for the work that you are doing to promote science and WMO is also scientific and technical organization. We are also promoting very much climate related science and also meteorological services and also the status of global water resources. And of course, we are also the host agency of IPCC and the founding father of IPCC. We are just coming out of COP27, which was hosted by Egypt, USA in the past 2 weeks. And from there, we didn't get any major steps forward in climate mitigation, but they paid a lot of attention to climate adaptation. And one of the main issues that WMO was promoting there was to get support for our major initiative to improve the global basic observing systems on the weather and climate and also hydrology, and also to promote the improvement of early warning services at our member countries. Only half of our 193 members have proper early warning services in place, and that means that when high impact weather event hits them, and both the human losses and the economic losses are much higher. And we got a blessing for $3.1 billion investment in the coming 5 years to improve the situation so that by the end of 27, all of the members will have access to early warning services. And there's also a need for academic education and research to achieve this, and especially in less developed countries, we have a major lack of expertise and the work that you are doing at Dhaka and also other academic universities and institutions. That's highly important for that. Then we're also promoting a new way of monitoring the status of greenhouse gas budgets, carbon dioxide, methane, and nitrous oxide. And there are big uncertainties related to, for example, the terrestrial sink of carbon dioxide. And also, we don't know the sources of methane too well, which is reported that we have seen the biggest annual increase of methane concentration since '83 last year, and the reason for that is a bit unknown. And we are proposing to create a system where we use the ground-based stations, global watch stations of the satellites from China, Japan, USA to European ones, and also modeling and assimilation tools to simulate what's happening in real atmosphere resources and sinks of those three gases. Then we have also agreed to improve our climate modeling activities. At the moment, for example, the IPCC model runs are based on models where the resolution is 20 to 30 kilometers, and that's a challenge how to describe the physics of clouds and also rainfall, melting of glaciers, for example, and extreme weather events with such a resolution. And we have agreed to create the modeling center where we will be able to go to kilometer scale climate modeling, and that would enhance how we simulate the rainfall, flooding, drought, extreme weather events, and melting of, for example, Antarctic glaciers, which are big unknowns in climate science. And this glacier melting and sea level rise game we have already lost because of the already high concentration of carbon dioxide, and that's that need for countries like Bangladesh. And also the melting of mountain glaciers is a challenge when it comes to availability of freshwater resources for main rivers. For example, the Himalayan glacier, which is totally new, it having big impact in China, India, Ethiopia, Vietnam, and there are other parts of Asia, and therefore WMO has started publishing new water reports and and it will come out with the first report, and the impacts of climate change, they're very much central to water and also display geomatics one component there. But all in all, thanks for organizing this meeting and all the climate science related issues. They are very hot topics at the moment, although we have some other challenges, but that's climate change is the biggest challenge for the welfare of mankind. This century and success in mitigation is crucially needed, but also needs to adapt to negative impacts of climate change. They are needed. And from our side, we are promoting both and the scientific results that you're doing with they also strong messages for the global community to enhance the ambition level of climate mitigation. With these words, thanks for the opportunity to address you and looking forward to meet you face to face one day. Thank you.
Thank you. And we are greatly indebted to our today's guest who came and encouraged us during this trying condition today. We are delighted to have Director, Bangladesh Meteorological Department, Muhammad Azizur Rahman sir, as came here. Dr. Nazmul Hassan, he's also our visiting professor in this department. Professor Dr. Nazmul Nahar madam also came here, and we are very delighted to have you in our occasion. Now, the time for our keynote speech. It will be delivered by Professor Dr. Tetsuya Takemi in the DPRI, Kyoto University. We are very delighted that Takemi Sensei is here joining us and glorify this session as keynote speaker. His title of the speech is Challenges of Disaster in Changing Climate. Sensei, can you hear me?
Yes, yeah, can you hear me?
Please, Sensei.
Okay, thank you. I'm Tetsuya Takemi at the Disaster Prevention Research Institute, Kyoto University. Okay, thank you for inviting me as a keynote speaker for the International Conference on Climate Change 2022. Okay, I will share my screen and start my presentation right now. Can you hear my screen? Okay.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Today I'm going to talk about quantifying the impacts of climate change on extreme weather hazards. So we are interested in. Okay.
Can you allow me for 1 minute? We cannot.
Yeah.
Hear you. Unmute. Sensei unmute. আমি শুনতে পাচ্ছি। Only ভলিউমটা বাড়াও। আমাদের স্পিকারটা বাড়াও। এখানে স্পিকার। Sensei.
Okay.
Only in this. ওটাতে আসছে না। সাউন্ড ওটাতে আসছে না। Sensei,
Okay.
please.
Can I start?
Yeah. Yes, Sensei. Yes, sir.
Okay, I will start. Okay. So I'm going to talk about extreme weather hazards, how climate change affects the intensity of extreme weather hazards. We are interested in climate change impact assessment studies for more than 15 years. DPRI leads the national funded research project on climate change impact assessment. We are combining hazard assessment, impact assessment, and adaptation mitigation strategy and management. In order to use the climate change impact information for policy making, we need quantitatively assess the impacts of climate change on extreme weather hazards that will lead to disaster phenomena like flooding, landslides, strong winds, storm surge. As I said, we are conducting the research project on climate change projection and impact assessment for more than 15 years. This is the history of our national funded research project on climate change projection in Japan, starting in 2007. And we have conducted 3 phases of climate change studies. And from this fiscal year, we started a new project called as Program for the Advanced Studies on Climate Change Projection until 2026. What I'm showing in this figure is the global surface temperature change from 1950 until the end of this century, which is taken from IPCC assessment report. And we are now in 2022, and we are facing impacts of climate change from the past, and we need to assess the impacts of climate change on natural disasters. In order to quantitatively assess the impacts of climate change on extreme weather and hazard, we need a precise downscaling technique. For example, heavy rainfall, strong wind occurs at local scales, and they are primarily caused by convective and topographic processes. And also, strong winds are strongly affected by complex surface geometry, like urban buildings, complex terrains. So in order to assess quantitatively the impacts of climate change on extreme weather, resolving convective process and topography is critically important. There is an issue in resolving specific atmospheric phenomena in numerical models. This figure depicts the conceptual idea on specific numerical model in resolving specific atmospheric phenomena. In turbulence scales, we need a large eddy simulation model to resolve explicitly the turbulent phenomena, turbulent motions. For convective processes, we need a convection resolving model, CRM, which explicitly represent the updrafts and downdrafts within cumulus clouds. Currently, due to the limitation of numerical capacity, CPM, convection permitting models, are widely used to assess the impacts of climate change at regional scales. But we need CRM or LES models to quantitatively assess the impacts of climate change at local scales. This study indicates how the convective processes are resolved in numerical models. This left panel shows the squall lines, convective cloud, and gust front represented at grid resolution of 100 meters and 1 kilometer. If you look at the results with 100 meter, 125 meter, clouds formed associated with strong updrafts are clearly seen. In comparison with this figure, 1 kilometer resolution simulation represent overall convective cloud here, but quantitatively, the intensity is totally different. And also, there is another issue, how numerical model can resolve specific atmospheric phenomena. Grid spacing is not the exact resolution that will represent specific atmospheric processes. Actually, there is an effective resolution that can well capture the specific atmospheric motions because of the numerical filtering or other computational issues. So actually, around 6 or 7 times grid spacing is an appropriate resolution that can represent atmospheric phenomena. So keeping mind of this issue, we need a very high resolution, desirably cloud resolving, convection resolving range to explicitly represent convective processes and resulting extreme rainfall. So this is an example of the simulations of heavy rainfall event that occurred in Japan. And in this specific case, heavy rainfall occurred in Kyushu Island. It's located in the western part of the Japanese island. And within about 6 hours, the total rainfall exceeds 500 millimeters. And for the 24-hour, 48-hour, 70 hours rainfall is all exceeding 500 millimeters or 600 millimeters. So the key issue here is, can we quantitatively represent or reproduce this type of extreme rainfall in numerical model? Okay, so for this purpose, we employ a high resolution, which is in the convection resolving range, and by explicitly represent convective processes as well as reproducing precisely the complex terrain features. So we use the work model, weather research and forecasting model, to downscaling from the Japanese area and finally resolving complex terrain features in this area, 100 kilometer by 100 kilometer area. We use a 167 meter grid spacing to resolve complex terrain features in this region. So this is the result of the simulations, and we can successfully simulate the stationary convective system that occurred in this region. And the left panel shows the animation of the radar reflectivity, simulated radar reflectivity. And you can see that active convection occurred around here. And you can see the stationary features of the development of convective system. And this simulation is well contrasts very well with the observations, which is shown on the right panel. The right panel shows the hourly rainfall for 6 hours, and stationary rainfall system develops in specific region. And this kind of stationary precipitating systems is well captured in this simulations. And this is the total rainfall in this region, and the amount exceeding over 600 millimeter. And this simulated total rainfall corresponds well with the of the rainfall. So by employing 167-meter grid spacing, we can successfully simulate the stationary precipitating systems and the resulting total extreme rainfall in this region. If we compare the result of 167-meter grid spacing with coarser resolutions, the total rainfall features look totally different. The leftmost figure shows the result of the 167-meter grid spacing for total rainfall. And if you compare this panel with coarser resolutions, say with 500-meter grid spacing, 1.5 kilometer grid spacing, 4.5 kilometer grid spacing, well, stationary precipitating system can be partly resolved in the case of 500-meter grid spacing and 1.5 kilometer grid spacing, but quantitatively, the total rainfall is largely reduced compared with 167-meter grid spacing, and also underestimate the observed rainfall in coastal resolutions. And also with the coastal resolution simulations, the topography features are totally different. Topography is represented by solid contour lines. So comparing the topography features in 167-meter grid spacing and 4.5 kilometer grid spacing, the terrain features are totally different. So using this kind of high resolution is beneficial in representing both convective processes and topography features. And by the way, using the radar network, operational radar network in Japan, we can statistically investigate the climatological features of stationary convective systems or stationary precipitating systems. What I'm showing in this figure are Japan Meteorological Agency's radar network covering the whole Japanese islands. And if we use this kind of radar network data, we can obtain the climatological features of stationary mesoscale convective systems in Japan. In the left panel shows the spatial distribution of occurrence frequency of precipitation system, and you can see that high frequency occurred in the Pacific West Pacific Sea side of the Japanese island, and most of them have a linear shape. And using this kind of radar network enables us to do some climatological studies of precipitating systems. Okay, let's move on to the next assessing the impact of climate change. During the Japan's national project, we have generated a large ensemble climate data called D4PDF. This data set covers over 5,000 years of ensemble historical and future climate simulations using 60-kilometer global climate model and regional atmospheric model with 20-kilometer resolution. Regional model covers the Japanese island and some parts of the East Asian region. And the temperature rise assumed in D4PDF is 4 Kelvin increase. Using this large ensemble data set enables us to evaluate both probabilistic information and world-class extremes. This is an example of the assessment of climate change on extreme precipitation. This D4PDF monsoon rainfall, extreme rainfall in East Asia. The upper left panel shows the frequency distribution of daily rainfall in historical run and future climate represented by colored lines. So the frequency of extreme precipitation increases in future climate than in the historical climate. And if we investigate how the atmospheric condition changes in extreme precipitation, or depending on the intensity of daily rainfall, the right panel shows the how the future climate, the atmospheric conditions in the future climate changes. We have examined relative humidity, vertical velocity, cloud water content, and air temperature for historical run, and the difference between future and historical climate. The horizontal axis indicates the daily rainfall, and the vertical axis shows the vertical direction. So with the increase of daily rainfall, relative humidity increases, upward motion increases, cloud water content increases, and the temperature structure becomes different. If you compare the future and historical runs, the result are indicated in the lower panels. Relative humidity decreases in the future climate. Upward motion is suppressed in the future climate. Cloud water content decreases in the lower troposphere, while increases in the upper troposphere. And the temperature rise is actually higher in the upper atmosphere compared in the lower troposphere. So drier condition as well as stable conditions indicates that the future atmospheric conditions is basically unfavorable for generating intense precipitation. So the reason why the extreme precipitation increase in the future climate is basically due to the increase in moisture content. The upper left panel shows the frequency, the relationship between rainfall intensity with precipitate water vapor or column water vapor. So in the future climate, precipitate water vapor increases largely compared to the historical climate. So at the higher precipitate water vapor leads to extreme rainfall. However, if you look at the same precipitate water vapor value, the daily rainfall is actually stronger in the historical climate than in the future climate. So this indicates because this is due to the reduced relative humidity or drier condition, as well as stably stratified atmosphere in the future climate. So, and this panel, middle panel, shows the precipitate water vapor differences in the vertical direction, and the difference of the air temperature depending on the crystal water vapor. So basically, in this crystal water vapor range, up to 80 kilogram per meter squared, air temperature rises in the upper troposphere compared to the lower troposphere, which means that the atmosphere is more stably stratified. But with the extreme value of crystal water, temperature decreases in the middle troposphere, which means that the atmosphere is more unstable. So future increase in extreme precipitation is a result of competitive effects of increasing crystal water vapor and the increasing stability. And how we can assess the impacts on climate change on specific extreme weather. This is an example of the assessment of climate change on specific extreme weather. We have focused on destructive typhoon occurred in 2018 in Japan, Typhoon JB case. With the passage of this destructive typhoon, huge heavy damage occurred in the urban districts in Japan. We used the pseudo-global warming technique to assess the impact of climate change. In pseudo-global warming experiment, we first defined warming increment using the future as well as and present or historical climate simulations by global climate model, and then using the past analysis field and add warming increment to generate warm climate condition. And using the downscaling technique, using the regional model like the work model, then we can assess the impacts of climate change. We have conducted the PGW experiment on Typhoon JP in 2018, and using the D4PDF dataset as well as a T2 PDF, which assumes the 2 degrees Celsius increase in the future climate. The left panel shows the time series of the central pressure and maximum wind speed, and historical run and 2 degrees increase and 4 degrees increase. And with the increase in temperature, pressure decreases and maximum wind speed increases. And actually, there is a huge gap between the 2 Kelvin increase and 4 Kelvin increase. This is the difference of the inner core structure of the typhoon, and strong upward wind and a tangential wind simulated in 4 degrees increase, while there is not so much difference between 2 degrees Celsius increase compared to the historical condition. Okay, and almost time is up, so we like to skip this slide, but I would like to also emphasize that there's a huge gap between 4 degrees increase and 2 degrees increase compared to the historical run. So we use the downscale technique to assess the impacts of climate change at local scales, and using the worst case scenario, we can generate climate downscaled climate projection information at city scale or local scales. And that quantitative information or estimation is very useful to develop an idea on climate change adaptation mitigation strategy. And in the last, I would like to introduce our next disaster risk reduction conference led by our research institute, DPRI. This is called a GADRI, Global Summit of Research Institutes for Disaster Risk Reduction. And I would like to welcome you to join this sixth global summit, which will be held in person in March next year. And thank you all your attention.
Thank you, Sensei, for joining us and giving your valuable keynote speech on quantifying the impacts of climate change on extreme weather hazards. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now I'd like to request our honorable special guest, Honorable Dean, Faculty of Art and Environmental Sciences, University of Dhaka, Professor Dr. Majidur Rahman, sir. Please give us some speech.
সকালে খাওয়াইছে আবার দুপুরে খাওয়াবে এই কি রে ভাই এই খেলা লুজি দিয়ে তোমার ইয়া কি রকম ভাই রেজাল্ট কি রকম আছে ভালো
Honorable Chair,
কত আছে
Vice Chancellor of the University of Dhaka, Professor Dr.
80 না
Akhtar Jamal Sir,
79 না অনেক ভালো আছে
special guest Dr. Dewan Abdul Kadir, eminent meteorologist, convener of this conference, Professor Dr. Tohida Rashid, Chairperson, Department of Meteorology, University of Dhaka, honorable guest, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum, and very good morning, or good morning. Okay. Faculty of Art and Environmental Sciences, since its inception on 2008, has been striving for achieving excellence in academic and research areas related to art and environment. The faculty has a very long history, just like the university as well as the nation, with its oldest member being aged more than 70 years. 5 departments constitute the faculty, and the Department of Meteorology is the youngest of them. After its inception in 2016, the department has achieved significant progress in the field of meteorology and climate science. The department, under the guidance of the faculty, has ensured the best quality of education for the students and also the better availability of the resource for research works. This has reflected in the overall performance of the department. Department of Meteorology has surely led the scientific education and high standard research work in Bangladesh and in the areas of meteorology and climate science after its establishment. Hopefully, this trend will continue in the coming years, and the department will continue to play a pivotal role in the nation building process. In January 2020, before the outbreak of COVID-19, Faculty of Art and Environmental Sciences successfully organized the International Conference on Art and Environmental Sciences and Technology for Sustainable Development. In the event, a large collection of quality research work was presented and interaction took place among the international participants, which inspired our scientists and students to be involved in academic and research activities. Noticeably, the Department of Meteorology had great variety of research paper from home and abroad. I am very delighted to know that there are participants from India, Nepal, Japan, Australia, and the USA. Eminent scholars and scientists from Bangladesh are also participating in this conference. This will make the event very rich in science and wisdom, especially in the field of meteorology and climate science. Forecast-based early warning can reduce the devastation of climate disaster across the world. Recently, the World Meteorological Organization has mandated that a forecast with adequate lead time can reduce up to 20% of the damage caused by natural disaster. Last year, the Met Office of the United Kingdom has come out and said that there is a growing need for forecast with final resolution. International organization that works on climate science has urged the need for collective efforts in enhancing the forecast capabilities. So research on this aspect must be given more emphasis. Bangladesh being one of the most vulnerable countries in the world due to climate change must not lag behind. From this perspective, the ICCC 2022 bears high significance in providing relevance to the advances of the science of meteorology and climate for advancing the society towards a better future. I wish very best of the organization on the conference on International Conference on Climate Change 2022 and also the Department of Meteorology. Thank you all. Thank you. Joy Bangla. Joy Bangla.
Thank you, sir, for your good words to us. Now, I'd like to request our honorable special guest, Professor Dr. Dewan Abdul Kadir, sir, to give his valuable speech. Professor Dr. Dewan Abdul Kadir, sir.
Honorable Chair, it is a great privilege for me to join the inaugural ceremony of the two-day International Conference on Climate Change 2022. Good morning and good evening to all who have joined with us in this conference. The Honorable State Minister of the Ministry of Disaster Management and Relief, Dr. M.D. Inamur Rahman, MP, was supposed to be here this morning with us as chief guest, but could not be here because of some unavoidable circumstances. The State Minister, as we have experienced in the past, that takes a high interest in the science of meteorology and climate change, especially in the forecasting and early warning of disaster with a sufficient lead time for disaster preparedness and taking safety measures for the lives and properties. We have amongst us the Vice Chancellor of the University of Dhaka, Professor Dr. M.D. Akhtaruzzzaman, who is chairing the session today. He constantly looks after the Department of Meteorology, as a result of which the department has undergone accelerated progress in academic and research areas. My sincere regards to the Vice Chancellor and very good morning. I am very proud that the recorded speech of Professor Petteri Telus, Secretary General of the World Meteorological Organization, WMO, has been played for the audience. It has been a rare fortune for me to hear his pathfinding speech. His valuable words added strong momentum to the success of the conference. We have among us Professor Tetsuya Takemi from the Disaster Prevention Research Institute, Kyoto University, Japan, who has presented keynote paper of the conference. The paper is of high relevance to the conference and shows how the future climate will look like. Such a study provided guidance to the planners dealing with climate adaptation and mitigation. He has presented that how the resolution, final resolution, will help in finding the more reliable and more reliable results in modeling. And he also shown that the pseudo modeling of climate change, zero climate modeling, he said, showed that how will be the future climate look like. Say, for example, he has shown the convective activities at different temperatures, like 2 degrees Celsius rise and 4 degrees Celsius rise. And in the event of today, how it will look like in the future climate change. So this is a very new area of research of climate change. And we have among us Professor Zilur Rahman, Dean of Faculty of Art and Environmental Sciences, as a special guest. I believe his presence in the inaugural session and the valuable words as he delivered has elevated the status of the conference and will help to achieve commendable success. I would like to congratulate Professor Tawhida Rashid for her strong, very active and dynamic leadership in developing the Department of Meteorology of Dhaka University as an excellent department within 6 years of its creation. Distinguished fellow scientists, eminent meteorologists, climate scientists, officials of the government of People's Republic of Bangladesh, dignitaries, and ladies and gentlemen, my regards to all of you who have joined us today. I understand you are involved in climate change research, policies, and planning for mainstreaming climate change to the adaptation and mitigation process. I hope your active participation will enrich the findings and outcome of the conference. I am highly privileged to be here to deliver a few words in the August gathering of the community of climate scientists, academicians, engineers, policymakers, and planners. The conference is taking place at a historic moment as the COP27 that took place during 6th to 20th November this year in Egypt, which took very important decision on adaptation and mitigation of their financing aspects in the light of the Paris Agreement COP16. The ICCC 21 conference, I mean the present conference, will bear a very high significance for climate change research, knowledge development, and preparing for application of the adaptation and mitigation processes in different areas of interest. COP27 concluded the historic decision to establish and operationalize a loss and damage fund for the disaster vulnerable countries. I'm sorry. Bangladesh is a country prone to climate-related natural disasters, such as tropical cyclones and associated storm surges, extreme rainfall causing floods, and lack of rainfall causing droughts, heat waves, cold waves, landslides, river erosion, and lightning from the thunderstorms, and extreme astronomical tides. These hazardous phenomena cause human casualties, affect the health, human health and environment and ecology, and damage to natural resources and wealth of the people. Climate change in the form of increasing atmospheric temperature and sea surface temperature, variability of rainfall, and sea level rise exacerbate the above natural hazards, which severely affect the lives and the economy of the people in the last 5 decades. The country experienced 10 severe floods of large scales during the past. On average, more than 5 tropical cyclones formed in the Bay of Bengal in a year, of which about 1.14 cyclones hit the coast of Bangladesh. It is seen that in the recent 5 decades, the frequency of cyclones has increased, but the frequency of those with higher intensity, with wind speed higher than 118 km per hour, increased at a faster rate. It has been shown in the Bangladesh Delta Plan 2100 study, and that SST is strongly correlated with intensity of these tropical cyclones. The rainfall and temperature have shown increasing trends in many studies. Studies show that temperature has increased by around 1 degree Celsius and annual rainfall by 8.6% during the past 50 years. CIMIP 6 GCM data, as provided by the World Bank Climate Knowledge Portal, depicts that temperature would increase by about 1 to 2 degrees Celsius by the year 2050, and monthly rainfall by about 5 to 15% for the months May to November for strong climate change case, with some exception and varying over the spatial domain. The evidence of the sea level rise is clear in many places. NASA's ultimate data show that the sea level has is rising by 5 to 6 millimeters per year in the Meghna estuary. Because of the sea level rise, salinity has increased to a harmful level, causing a scarcity of drinking water. Future sea level is expected to rise by around 0.5 meter by 2050 in an extreme case. Thus, a more detailed study and quantification of future climate change and its impacts on are extremely necessary for executing adaptation and mitigation plans and policies of Bangladesh. The Department of Meteorology was formed in 2016 for its academic and 2016 and made tremendous progress in this small span of time. The department's faculties, students, and consultants visiting scientists performed studies in the different areas with the collaboration of the Department of Meteorology, Bangladesh Agricultural Extension, Biri, Bari, Jute Research Institute, Shere Bangla Nagar Agriculture University, Kuwait, and Bangladesh Air Force, Central University of Rajasthan, and Tribhuvan University of Nepal. A good number of research publications have been made in the areas of thunderstorm, hailstorm modeling, tropical cyclone study, numerical prediction of the lightning, and hydrodynamical studies of flash floods predictions. I hope we will get adequate feedback from the deliberation of the conference papers through lively interaction with the world community of scientists. I hope the conference will be a very successful one and will be able to sensitize the audience to the contemporary issues of climate change research, exchange of knowledge, and sharing of ideas among the learned participants. With these words, I conclude my delivery. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your insightful talk to us. Dear audience, we can see our participants online here. And now I would like to inform about our last conference, that was International Conference on Meteorology and Climate Science 2021. We had 8 sessions and there were around 60 participants in that conference, and we select 5 participants from that conference as an award winner. Now I would like to our Honorable Chair, respected Vice Chancellor, he will provide the Best Presenter Award certificates to the winners. Now I would like to request our Honorable Chair, our respected Vice Chancellor, Professor Dr. Ahmad Akhiruddin sir, to deliver his valuable speech in our conference. Thank you, sir.
Dear conference participants, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good day to all. But from our end, it is good afternoon. I am extremely delighted and honored to be here today with a very distinguished group of people, scientists, meteorologists, researchers, faculties, ladies and gentlemen, very good day and good earth to you all. This is the inaugural session. The main attraction of this international conference is certainly the technical sessions that you will be having in the next couple of days, in the next 3 days. I have got the impression that you will be having 7 technical sessions in which leading meteorologists and scientists from home and abroad will be presenting their research papers, and some leading personalities will be sharing. Today, we have already listened to some distinguished persons, including the World Meteorology Organization General Secretary and one of the noted meteorologist from Japan, Professor Dr. Tetsuya Takemi, Honorable Dean of the Faculty of Earth and Environmental Sciences, Professor Zillur Rahman, and one of the leading meteorologists who is widely known nationally and internationally, Professor Dr. Abdul Kader, who is also the adjunct faculty of the Department of Meteorology here at the University of Dhaka. And of course, my colleague, the founding chair of the Department of Meteorology, Professor Tawhid Rashid. And I have also come to know that different representation from different organizations, government officials, policymakers, planners, NGO, CO, and so on, are participating in this wonderful event. My colleague Fatima Akhtar, who is moderating the session, it is a hybrid form of session which we have got from the COVID-19, because it is one of the impacts of COVID-19 that the whole global communities are now having their events in hybrid form. That Bangladesh has made tremendous progress in the field of science and technology. This is one of the finest examples that we notice today, that we have been able, this department, although relatively a young department, but has been able to connect the global communities today. So this is the advancement of science and technology that Dhaka University has adopted over the last couple of years. This inaugural session has been marked and graced especially by two presentations to my assessment. One is the keynote speech made by Professor Tatsuya Takemi, Disaster Prevention and Research Institute, Kyoto University, who has presented his research findings focusing on hazard assessment, impact assessment, and finally, adaptation and mitigation policies and models. I understand that all these findings which he has presented in this international conference on climate science will inspire the conference participants and the researchers, and to inspire them to find a new area, avenue, research avenue. And the another entity that has also graced us is the video message from the World Meteorological Organization's Secretary General, Professor Battery Talas. I was recalling my some fond memories that I did have with this gentleman in Geneva this year, in the early part of this year, when I was visiting Geneva and some parts of Europe. Then I had the opportunity to meet him, and he is highly academic. He is also very closely associated with some European universities, he told me, and he is very willing to visit this part of the globe, especially the South Asia, more particularly Bangladesh. And we are also hoping to invite him to one of our convocation as the convocation speaker. He has kindly given his kind consent to be present. So today, congratulations, Professor Tawhid Rashid, that you have been able to connect this gentleman, one of the global figures in this day, and which is more pertinent nowadays, because he was basically reminding us the success stories of the COP27 that was held in one of the Egyptian noted towns, Sharm el-Sheikh. He was focusing on the issues and the groundbreaking decisions that was taken in that international COP27 sessions. You all know that today is the 10th of December. 10th of December is not so noted, but at least one we can say that December is the month of victory, in which month we achieved our victory back in 1971 under the pragmatic and visionary leadership of the founding father of the nation, who is considered as the greatest Bengali for all times, Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman. I do pay my deepest homage to him and the members of his family who was brutally killed in 1975. I also recall the heroic role our martyrs played and made their supreme sacrifice for the cause of Bangladesh. And I also pay my respect to the 2 lakhs women who were disgraced and violated by the Pakistani occupation forces and their collaborators in Bangladesh in 1971 during our war of liberation. Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujib, basically just immediately after the independence of Bangladesh, underscored the need for climate change-induced disasters to mitigate these issues, because he was a pro-people leader, and he became very anxious seeing the sufferings of the poor people, particularly the farmers, when recurrences of floods, droughts, and calamities, other calamities were occurring off and on frequently, and was making havoc to the lives and livelihoods of the people. Then he, and also he noticed that the lack of meteorological information, weather forecast, is also in a very poor condition. Therefore, it was the father of the nation who, back in 1975, launched the Bedbunia Earth Station, satellite Earth Station in 1975. And it is also gratifying to note that most of the science-based, technology-based departments at the University of Dhaka got their birth during his time. And following him, the proud daughter of the father of the nation, Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, she has been inspiring the university to move forward with the ideas of innovation and innovation-based departments, so that science and technology may get flourish in the university. And probably the Department of Meteorology also got its birth in 2016. That was also under the directives of the Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, who realized the situation to address that the university should address, and therefore he advised us to form this department so that climate and weather related issues may be discussed and researched in this university. And also Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, just following her father, launched the Bangabandhu 1 satellite in 2018. And hopefully we are also planning, the nation is also hoping to launch another satellite, Bangabandhu 2nd, which is active consideration of the government process. So all these are happening on the government side. We are receiving all-out support in fostering science and technology education, especially to focus on climate change issues and related issues. So far, I can recall now Honorable Professor Abdul Qadir. He was focusing on the issue, and Professor Tohida Rashid in her welcome speech also made this point that COP27 has made some groundbreaking decisions which the earlier COP sessions could not make. Probably the first one is the loss and damage funding for the vulnerable countries. Professor Dewan Abdul Qadir made this point very effectively, that the poor countries, the vulnerable countries like Bangladesh, because this point was made very forcibly by Honorable Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina in the United Nations General Assembly. She made this point frequently, that these vulnerable countries to be paid for the hit hard area from climate change disasters. So that has been finally adopted in the Sharm el-Sheikh implementation plan. That is in the language of Professor Tohida, that is the cover decision of the Sharm el-Sheikh of the COP27. COP27 cover decision is the Sharm el-Sheikh implementation plan. That also makes another decision that is also very gratifying to learn. Today I have also learned it, that they reaffirm their commitment to limit the global temperature to 1.5 degrees Celsius above the pre-industrial level. That is also a very groundbreaking decision, or that was taken in the COP27 sessions. And the another point is the integration of hydrology and water with the climate adaptation policies. That is probably also very good news for the global communities. For the first time, probably, this global forum is having these issues in consideration, that water and hydrology to be given a preference for their study in meteorology and climate change related issues. So all these will probably give the university a very good opportunity to explore new areas of research and innovation. That is why today the Secretary General of the World Meteorological Organization is emphasizing on these issues that was taken in the Sharm el-Sheikh implementation plan. I am thankful to the huge rich audience, members of the audience who are coming from different organizations, government bodies, NGOs, to make this international event a success. And I'm especially thankful to Professor Pateri Talas, the Secretary General, who has been very kind, as he seemed to be to me when I met him. He is very kind, he is very supportive, particularly to this part of the people, because probably he is a very pro-people man. That is why I have invited him to come over here, because his visions and, should I say, the values he upholds is certainly pro-people or people-centric. Then Abdul Qadir is always very supportive. He's one of the very nationally and internationally known figure in the field of the meteorological science and its research. So he is supporting the department, newborn department. And of course, Professor Tohida Rashid, the founding chairman, currently also is the chair of the department, is running this well, because she has got very wonderful connections with international communities, and therefore she has been able to connect them today in this international conference. It also gives me an impression that probably after COP27, this is probably the first international conference in this part of the world in line with the vision of COP27, because that will also be considered as the groundbreaking decision today, because you are the pioneer in propagating the ideas and notions that was promulgated in the COP27 sessions. And you are fostering and now conveying this message to the concerned entities and the researchers to advance the ideas and notions that you have perceived from that COP27. I congratulate you all and wish you all the best. And probably the next 2 days will be a very fruitful and meaningful sessions, because that will guide this department and other entities and participating members to bring the message of this conference further. With this note, once again, I am very much thankful to all of you, our organizers. Dean of the faculty, he will be supporting this new department. 5 departments under his faculty are working, dealing with earth and environmental sciences. This department also falls within the purview of his faculty. So we need to give a special emphasis because that is the national and international priority. This is not only the national priority, this is the global priority. So with this global priority, the university shall, of course, advance this field of study. Thank you indeed. Jai Bangla, Jai Bangabandhu, Dhaka Vishwavidyalaya চিরজীবী হোক, বাংলাদেশ চিরজীবী হোক।
Thank you, sir, for your very insightful and very kind words to us. Thank you, sir. Now the time for the prize giving, certificate giving. This is for our last conference, the Best Presenter Awards. Now I'd like to announce first the name of our participants, award winner, Dr. Shaila Akhtar. Dr. Shaila Akhtar, Assistant Director, Bangladesh Betar, Ministry of Information and Broadcasting, People's Republic of Bangladesh. Her presentation topic was the evaluation of global ocean forecasting system in the Northern Bay of Bengal. Our award winner, Dr. Shaila Akhtar, is here. We are delighted. Dr. Shaila.
We have another colleague, just your namesake or physiognomy. Thanks.
It is a professional category, and professional category we have another award winner, Jennifer Wicks, Sea Level Rise Dynamics and Projection for Bangladesh. She is from UKMet. She is from UKMet. We are hand over it to our chairperson, Professor Dr. Rashid. Our next award winner, student category, Tahrim Jannat Moshumi. Tahrim Jannat Moshumi, she is now doing her PhD in Ocean University in China. Her topic was study of atmospheric methane over South Asia, analysis of in situ data and satellite measurement. She is also not here. We are requesting Professor Nazmullah Madam on behalf of Tahrim Jannat to take this certificate. Our next participant from student category, award winner, Suchi Chaki. She is from the Applied Mathematics Department, University of Dhaka. Her topic was developing a heat health early warning system. Heat health early warning system over Bangladesh. Professor Dr. Shubhrata sir is taking that on behalf of Suchi Chaki. Our next from poster category student, and that is Sharmin Akhtar. She is the student from the Meteorology Department of Meteorology, study of arrival and withdrawal of southeast monsoon. Thank you, Doctor. Thank you. Our award winner certificate giving ceremony part is over. Now we have some small gift. Professor Dr. Tawhida Rashid is providing to our Vice Chancellor sir and thank you. Our Centennial Book publication and to our Prof. Dean Mahoday. And another small souvenir. And another souvenir is for Professor Dr. Dian Abdul Qadir sir.
Sir, আমাদের ডিরেক্টর বিএনডি এসেছিল নাকি স্যার?
Thank you all. Thank you our participants from the online and also who here. Thank you very much for your time. And please join our technical session. It will start from 2 p.m. today. Our technical session, and we are giving the Zoom link via email. The Zoom link for our technical session day 1 and day 2 will provide by our email.
Ma'am, thank you. Ma'am,
Please join us.
Assalamu alaikum. This is Group Captain Shamsul from Bangladesh Airports.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir,
That
join
convey
here.
my thanks to convener Professor Tawhid Rashid for inviting us and for joining us in the session. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Please try to join our technical session. There will be some good papers also, and our student Rahan also present the day 2nd, and we are sending you the link as well. Please join us.
Thank you. Thank you.
Madam, I take a Zoom link. We are taking a snapshot. Please turn on your videos. We are taking snapshots with our participants online and also offline. Please join us. Please join online. Please open your video. We are taking some snapshot. The video showing snapshot.